Hey guys, so I've been watching some videos lately on Antarctica and some of the weird things that's been going on there, but including a lot of high officials visiting there recently, including Buzz Aldrin and John Kerry and a few other heads of state. It seems to be under weird circumstance why they're going there, but I decided to look into the Antarctic Treaty myself, which was signed soon after Admiral Byrd and his Operation Deep Freeze returned from Antarctica. And a lot of people know of Admiral Byrd as when he returned saying that we should be afraid of foreign bodies that can fly from pole to pole in a matter of seconds, and that's the biggest threat to the United States. So I looked up this treaty, and I was able to actually find a list of some of the first protected areas in Antarctica which are listed in this treaty. This was amended many times in the 90s and the 2000s, but I actually plotted out all of these coordinates that were part of the original Antarctic Treaty on Google Earth here, and I found something pretty interesting. So if you look, you see all these yellow markers here. These are all coordinates that are listed as specially protected areas in Antarctica, which we need to maintain and which travel is restricted to due to various reasons that are given. But if you notice something about these, almost all these points are on the edge of Antarctica, which would make sense, right, in terms of science, and that's where you could see the melting of the ice sheets and things like that. And I don't know how big of a deal that was back then, but this is where most of your wildlife is going to live. All these little areas up here, these islands, and they're all sort of on the edge of Antarctica. But then I found this one interesting point right here, which I have as Antarctic Special Protected Area 19, which isn't necessarily true. But this area here seems pretty interesting. It's sort of in the middle of Antarctica, and there's a famous transcript that is probably altered or fake from Admiral Byrd's expedition that talks about high temperatures and seeing areas with elephants and weird things like that. But I was looking into these mountains, and it looks like Google Earth sort of you're not able to actually zoom in on this. So it's, I mean, a little bit, but not as clear as obviously some areas of Google Earth. But I decided to look up this range of mountains, and it's actually called the Pensacola Mountains right here. This whole area is called the Pensacola Mountains. And if you look on this one that we're looking at here, which is down, this area is right here. No, not that one. Let me see. Yeah. So the Davis Valley and Forladas Ponds, Dufek Massif, and Pensacola Mountains. This is the area and the coordinates that I have mapped on there. So if you look here, it says the area contains some of the most southerly freshwater ponds, blah, 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 that provide unique opportunities. The believed most pristine ice-free valley systems in Antarctica. So that kind of coincides with what Admiral Byrd said about, areas where there's no ice and there's wildlife and things like that. But it's just sort of a weird area to include on this list, that everything else seems to be along the edge of Antarctica, and then you have this one just spot in the middle. But I looked up the Pensacola Mountains a little bit more, and the interesting thing to note here is that if you look down on the Wikipedia for it, it says discovered and photographed January 13th, 1956 in the course of a transcontinental nonstop plane flight by personnel of U.S. Navy Operation Deep Freeze, which, of course, is Admiral Byrd's, there he is right here, his famous expedition to Antarctica, which was cut short. A lot of people don't know why. He didn't explain a lot about why it was cut short. A lot of people think he found an entrance to, Hollow Earth or another civilization over there. Something weird is definitely going on. So again, I don't know too much about this stuff, but I have a small suspicion that somewhere in this Pensacola Mountain region, and if you look again in these protected areas, most of these things are like, 0.15 square miles or 2 square miles, This is 22 square miles that is totally off limits to travelers. And they say it's because it's a special region of, climate change or whatever, but it just seems a little fishy to me. So just wanted to make a video about that. I'm going to be making more videos in the future about some of the weird stuff going on in Antarctica and other regions of the world.